Did you know that just one piece of meat you ate this morning could be the reason your blood pressure spikes? Your blood vessels become severely inflamed, and a stroke strikes unexpectedly within hours with no warning signs at all? So why do so many people keep eating that type of meat every day without a second thought? And why is your heart getting weaker even though you don't smoke, don't drink, and keep up with regular checkups? In reviewing more than 10,000 medical records of heart patients over the age of 60, one disturbing pattern kept appearing: the regular consumption of certain meats that trigger inflammation, clog arteries, and accelerate atherosclerosis. The good news is that you can completely turn this around if you know exactly which meats to avoid and which ones can help clear your arteries, reduce inflammation, and restore heart health naturally, without strict dieting. This video will reveal 4 common meats you should cut from your breakfast and 4 better options that can help you feel healthier every day. Backed by medical research from the United States, the United Kingdom, and Europe, these small changes to your daily meals could save your heart and prevent a stroke before it happens. Watch this now, before you take another bite of meat. This list is ranked in order of increasing danger, starting from meats that cause mild inflammation all the way to those directly linked to stroke, heart failure, and even dementia. The further down the list you go, the more damage these meats can do, and the harder it is to notice the warning signs. So if you truly want to protect your blood vessels and your memory after 60, don't just watch part of this. Stick with me till the end. Let's start the countdown at number 4, a type of meat that so many people still eat every morning without realizing the risk.
The dangerous meat number 4, pork sausage. Pork sausage is one of the most popular foods in America, especially at breakfast. For many people, it is a long-standing habit, a part of their childhood tastes or daily routine. However, if you are over 60, continuing to eat this type of meat could be one of the most serious mistakes for your heart health. Industrial sausages, especially those made from pork, often contain a lot of preservatives, such as sodium nitrite, nitrate, along with extremely high levels of sodium and saturated fat. When fried at high temperatures, these preservatives can be converted into nitrosamines, a compound that damages blood vessels and increases the risk of cancer. A study published in the journal BMC Medicine, which tracked more than 18,000 people over 60 years old for nearly a decade, showed that eating sausage just twice a week is enough to increase the risk of colon cancer by 22% and the risk of kidney damage by 16%. Additionally, the excessive sodium in sausages can cause high blood pressure, water retention in the legs, and put excessive strain on the heart. In my clinic, I have met many patients who have found themselves in a similar situation. A typical case is a 72-year-old man with what seemed to be a completely healthy lifestyle. He didn't smoke, didn't drink alcohol, and still maintained a daily walking habit. His weight and blood sugar levels were stable. Yet, he had just recovered from a mild heart attack with no warning signs. When I reviewed his lifestyle and diet, I found that the problem stemmed from his breakfast habit, which had lasted for more than 30 years. Every day, he ate fried eggs with pork sausage. The slow, silent accumulation of inflammatory agents, preservatives, and excess sodium had been damaging his blood vessels over time without him realizing. Fortunately, he made a change. After 3 months of adjusting his diet by completely eliminating processed meats, increasing vegetables, and replacing sausages with lean, homemade meat, his cholesterol and blood pressure levels improved significantly. More importantly, he felt healthier and more in control of his own health. Industrial pork sausages not only contain 2 to 3 times the recommended sodium levels, but they also combine risk factors such as preservatives, saturated fats, and additive residues. For older adults, especially those with a history of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or past heart problems, this is a meat that should be completely eliminated from your diet. If you still enjoy the flavor of sausage, make it yourself at home by using lean chicken or turkey and combine with natural spices like black pepper, garlic, basil, or fennel. Opt for baking or steaming rather than frying to minimize harmful chemical reactions at high temperatures. This isn't just about tweaking your meals, it's about taking control and protecting your heart after 60. The next meat might seem healthy at first glance, but it's closely linked to a higher risk of stroke, heart failure, and short-term memory loss in older adults. What's even more concerning is that so many people are still eating it every single day without realizing the danger.
Dangerous meat, number 3. Deli ham and cold cuts. In the lunches of many older adults today, one food that seems simple and healthy appears with very high frequency. That's deli ham, cold cuts, or packaged bacon. These are often put into sandwiches, mixed in salads, or eaten with plain crackers. Convenient, easy to eat, easy to buy, and seemingly harmless. But in reality, it is quite the opposite. Deli ham and industrial cold cuts are among the highest sources of sodium in the American diet. Just a small serving, around 2 to 3 thin slices, provides 40 to 60% of the recommended daily sodium intake for an adult. For those over 60, where the heart, blood vessels, and kidney systems begin to weaken, continually consuming this large amount of salt becomes a real burden. Besides sodium, these meats also contain high levels of inorganic phosphate and chemical preservatives. These ingredients are used to help the meat stay tender, maintain its attractive pink color, and extend shelf life. However, these substances, when accumulated over time in the body, contribute to vascular inflammation, calcium metabolism disorders, and kidney function decline. A meta-analysis published in Circulation Journal, tracking over 500,000 adults across Europe for nearly a decade, showed that consuming processed meats like deli ham increases the risk of heart failure by 42% and the risk of death from heart and blood vessel causes by 24%. For older adults, each gram of excess sodium can lead to higher blood pressure. Every increase in blood pressure is a step closer to heart attack and stroke risks. Beyond the impact on the heart and blood vessels, cold cuts also affect brain health. Those who consume a lot of cold cuts have higher levels of inflammation in the nervous system, making them more susceptible to symptoms like persistent fatigue, memory decline, and sleep disturbances. These are early signs of conditions like brain fog, mini-strokes, or chronic cognitive decline in older adults. I once monitored a 67-year-old female patient with stable hypertension and no unusual symptoms for many years. She came in feeling consistently tired and sluggish after lunch, along with mild headaches and a foggy feeling in the afternoon. After thorough testing and ruling out other medical causes, I delved deeper into her diet. A recurring pattern in her daily routine was a sandwich filled with cold cuts, paired with pickles and white bread. She believed it was a light, low-fat meal suitable for older adults. After completely eliminating cold cuts for her diet for 4 weeks and replacing them with homemade thinly sliced grilled chicken, her symptoms almost completely disappeared. Her blood pressure stabilized throughout the day, and the post-meal fatigue no longer recurred. This is a prime example showing that even a small change in eating habits can yield significant results, especially for those at an age where the blood vessels and nervous system are more vulnerable. A worrying point is that many people over 60 choose this type of meat because they think it's lighter on the stomach compared to fried or grilled dishes. But the problem doesn't lie in the calories. It's in the nature of the food and how it affects the circulatory system, blood pressure, and inflammatory responses in the body. If you've ever experienced symptoms like dizziness when standing up, a dull headache, or prolonged fatigue after lunch, it's likely that the deli meat you're consuming is the silent culprit. These are symptoms often overlooked but can be early warnings of the heart and blood vessel system being under strain. For a healthier alternative, you can use lightly grilled meats at home, like thinly sliced chicken or beef, without adding salt, and storing them in the fridge for short periods. When preparing a quick meal, you can still enjoy sandwiches or salads, but instead of packaged cold cuts, choose freshly cooked meat from fresh ingredients. Your body will feel the difference after just a few weeks. Blood pressure levels will improve, post-meal heaviness will decrease, and most importantly, you'll significantly reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke in a proactive and natural way. And if you think you've avoided all the dangerous meats, wait for the next part, because the second meat on the list is a favorite of millions of Americans. It's crispy, fragrant, delicious, and appears at every party. But behind that delicious taste lies deep damage to the blood vessels, nervous system, and even memory. Don't miss the next part, because it's very likely that this is the meat you ate last week. Dangerous meat number 2. Deep-fried chicken. Fried chicken has almost become a cultural icon in the United States. Crispy, greasy, easy to eat, suitable for all ages, and especially present in most family dinners, gatherings, or takeout menus. For many, fried chicken is associated with memories, convenience, and enjoyment. However, after 60, this short-term pleasure could come with long-term health consequences. Chicken is naturally a healthy protein, but when dipped in batter and deep-fried at high temperatures, it loses its original benefits. Instead, it becomes a source of trans fats, oxidized compounds, and sodium, which pose a significant risk to your cardiovascular health. Cooking oil heated to high temperatures creates free radicals. These free radicals not only cause inflammation in blood vessels, but also contribute to the process of atherosclerosis, narrowing blood vessels and increasing the risk of blockage. Additionally, the chicken skin and batter absorb large amounts of oil and salt, making this simple dish a real burden for older adults. A large study from Harvard School of Public Health showed that consuming fried chicken at least once a week increases the risk of death from heart disease by 13%. For older adults, the gradual and silent accumulation of vascular inflammation, loss of elasticity in blood vessels, and arrhythmia after eating can go unnoticed for years. Until one day, a meal high in salt and oil, like fried chicken, could be the catalyst for an unexpected heart attack or stroke. John, 69 years old, is one of my patients. He had a history of mild pre-hypertension and moderately abnormal cholesterol levels, nothing alarming, no major symptoms. Until he was rushed to the hospital with chest tightness and shortness of breath after a family gathering. Tests revealed elevated cardiac enzymes, signs of atherosclerosis in his coronary arteries, and a small heart attack had occurred. During a detailed discussion about his eating habits, he mentioned his favorite dish for the past 20 years, homemade fried chicken, deep fried until crispy. No alcohol, no smoking, no major stress. But the way that familiar dish was prepared, fried and heavy in saturated fat, turned out to be the silent factor quietly damaging his heart for years. Another important point is that fried chicken often accompanies other fast foods, such as French fries, soda, and sugary sauces. This combination causes blood sugar levels to spike, insulin to become imbalanced, and exacerbates chronic inflammation in the body. For younger people, the immune system and metabolism can handle some of this. But for those over 60, the decline in digestive enzymes, slower blood circulation, and overall bodily functions make these negative impacts happen faster and more dangerously. If you still want to enjoy chicken safely, choose the chicken breast. Remove the skin, season with natural spices, and prepare it by baking or steaming. Oven-baked chicken at moderate temperatures can preserve the protein well, minimize bad fats, and prevent dangerous oxidizing compounds from forming. Also, pair it with steamed vegetables or fresh salad to neutralize the salt and support better digestion after the meal. Reducing or eliminating fried chicken from your diet doesn't mean giving up on enjoyment. It's about making a choice that leads to better health, a longer life, and staying in control of your own body. And if you think fried chicken is the worst food for your heart, wait for the next part. The number one dangerous meat I'm about to share doesn't just attack your heart, it's also linked to a group of diseases that more and more older Americans are facing, such as chronic memory loss and silent strokes. Keep watching and you'll understand why just a small change in your weekly meat choices could save you from a regrettable future. Dangerous meat number 1. Factory-farmed chicken breast. There is a paradox I often see in my clinic. Many people over 60 are very health conscious, trying to eat clean, avoid red meat, and reduce fats. They switch to eating chicken breast, steamed or boiled, every day. At first glance, this seems like a reasonable choice. But the truth is, if you're eating factory-farmed chicken breast every day, you could still be unknowingly increasing your risk for heart problems, weakening your immune system, and even harming your brain and increasing the risk of a stroke. Factory-farmed chicken, especially the white chicken breast, may look clean and low in fat, but it hides several issues. Chickens raised in large factory-like farms are often treated with hormones to make them grow faster, and they're fed with high doses of antibiotics. While most of these substances are supposed to be removed, by the time the chicken gets to you, your body can still absorb them over time, leading to silent harm. On top of that, white chicken breast is actually the least nutrient-dense part of the entire chicken. Compared to the thighs or liver, it has much less collagen, fewer antioxidants, and virtually no omega-3s. Eating factory-farmed chicken breast regularly increases your intake of unbalanced fatty acids, leading to a disrupted ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. This imbalance can trigger inflammation in the blood vessels and raise the risk of clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and chronic heart disease. A study from the University of Oxford found that people who ate factory-farmed chicken breast 5 or more times per week had a 17% higher risk of developing metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that includes high blood pressure, abnormal blood lipids, and an increased risk of heart attack. The study also highlighted a rise in chronic neuroinflammation linked to micronutrient deficiencies caused by diets that rely too heavily on overly processed and nutritionally limited meats.
About 5 months ago, I had a 65-year-old patient named Linda who shared with me that she was very careful with her diet. She avoided red meat, didn't eat fried foods, and stayed away from strong seasonings. Her meals mostly consisted of boiled chicken breast and vegetables. However, she came to see me because she felt constantly tired, had trouble sleeping, and noticed her memory was getting worse. Her test results showed she had mild inflammation, a lack of important vitamins, and her blood pressure was going up and down after meals. When I asked her about her eating habits, she told me she only ate pre-packaged chicken breast every week and didn't eat any other type of meat. Despite thinking it was a healthy choice, this routine had caused her to lack essential nutrients, which in turn triggered internal stress and inflammation in her body. The solution isn't to cut out chicken entirely, but to choose the right kind and to vary your diet. If possible, choose organic, free-range chicken without hormones. If that's not an option, try mixing chicken with fatty fish, eggs rich in omega-3s, and some lean red meat in moderation. Also, don't forget to add plenty of vegetables, nuts, and beans to your diet. Factory-farmed chicken isn't the enemy, but if eaten too often and seen as the healthy option, it can silently lead to nutrient deficiencies, inflammation, and increase the risk of heart disease as you get older. Older adults choose it every day, thinking it protects their health, but unknowingly build up inflammation, nutritional imbalances, and a higher risk of stroke over time. And that is exactly why I placed factory-farmed chicken breast at number 1. Not because it causes the most obvious harm, but because it causes silent harm in ways most people would never suspect. We've just gone through 4 types of meats that people over 60 should avoid or reduce to lower their risk of heart attack and stroke. So, if you avoid these common foods, what are the safer alternatives that can help protect your heart for the long term? Stay tuned. In the next part, I'll share 4 types of meats that have been proven to reduce inflammation, protect your blood vessels, and prevent heart problems effectively after 60. By simply changing the types of meat you eat, you'll feel lighter, healthier, and sharper after every meal. Let's begin.
The meat that helps prevent heart disease, number 4, wild-caught salmon. Most older adults know that salmon is good for the heart, but not everyone knows that wild-caught salmon is the type that really makes a significant difference. The difference lies not only in the source, but also in the high content of omega-3, the balance of EPA and DHA, and how it's cooked to preserve its natural health benefits. Wild-caught salmon contains superior levels of EPA and DHA, which are two fatty acids that help reduce inflammation in blood vessels, prevent blood clots, and protect the inner walls of blood vessels. These are key factors in preventing stroke and heart attacks. In addition, wild salmon also contains astaxanthin, a powerful antioxidant that has been proven to protect nerve cells from oxidative stress, which is the underlying cause of many neurodegenerative diseases. A study involving nearly 30,000 older adults in the U.S. showed that eating wild-caught salmon at least twice a week can reduce the risk of stroke by 27% and the risk of heart disease-related death by 31%. However, most people still choose farmed salmon because it's cheaper and easier to find. Farmed salmon contains more saturated fat and omega-6, which is much higher than that found in wild salmon, disrupting the balance of inflammation in the body. This is especially dangerous for older adults who have high blood pressure or cholesterol issues. I remember visiting a 75-year-old man during a community health consultation. He believed he was eating very healthily by having salmon every week. But after checking, I found that he was eating frozen farmed salmon, which was salted and packed with coloring. We simply changed the source of the salmon and the cooking method, switching to wild-caught salmon, grilling it lightly with some vegetables, and reducing the salt. 6 weeks later, his blood pressure dropped slightly, his CRP inflammation levels decreased significantly, and he mentioned that he was sleeping deeper and no longer felt groggy in the mornings. Instead of complicating things, you can start by grilling a portion of wild-caught salmon, lightly seasoning it with pepper, lemon, and olive oil, and serving it with steamed vegetables or a green salad. No complicated sauces, no heavy spices. Just maintaining this habit 2 to 3 times a week, and your body will gradually regain lightness, your mind will feel clearer, and your sleep will improve naturally. A 10-year study involving over 25,000 older adults in the U.S. also showed that people who regularly eat natural salmon not only live longer but live healthier. They had significantly lower rates of dementia, depression, chronic insomnia, and neuroinflammation compared to those who didn't eat fatty fish. It's no coincidence that many of the countries with the highest life expectancy in the world have a regular habit of eating natural ocean fish in their weekly meals. Next, there's a type of red meat that seems dangerous, but when raised correctly and used properly, it can actually help reduce inflammation, improve memory, and boost heart health after the age of 60. It's a type of meat that many people have wrongly removed from their diets for decades.
The good meat, number 3, grass-fed beef. Red meat has long been considered the enemy of heart health. But today, in-depth research has shown that not all red meats are harmful. The issue lies not in the nature of beef itself, but in how the cattle are raised and processed before reaching her plate. Grass-fed beef has a significantly different biological composition compared to cattle raised in industrial farms on grain. Naturally raised cattle that graze outdoors produce red meat that is higher in omega-3s, lower in saturated fats, and rich in CLA, a special fatty acid that can help reduce inflammation and support fat burning. Industrial beef does not have these qualities and often contains residues of growth hormones and other harmful substances. Interestingly, some studies show that CLA in grass-fed beef can help reduce visceral fat, a high risk factor for heart disease, diabetes, and high blood pressure in older adults. Additionally, the zinc and vitamin B12 in grass-fed beef play an important role in blood cell formation, nerve signaling, and maintaining sharp memory after age 60. At a geriatric nutrition conference in Minneapolis, I heard from a couple who switched to grass-fed beef instead of cheap industrial meats. They started simply by replacing ground beef in their chili with homemade grass-fed beef. After a few months, they felt lighter, slept better, reduced their blood pressure medication, and, notably, both saw significant improvement in their triglyceride levels. This made it easy for them to maintain the new habit without feeling forced. You don't need to eat a lot. For older adults, just 100 grams of grass-fed beef per week, prepared simply by grilling, pan-searing, or stewing with vegetables, is enough to provide protein, iron, and essential nutrients that the body tends to lack after age 60. The key is to choose the right source and avoid dishes with too much oil, sauce, or processed meat. What most people don't know is that completely avoiding red meat for years can lead to potential anemia, reduced bone density, and muscle loss, all of which significantly increase the risk of falls, frailty, and loss of independence in older adults. Grass-fed beef is not just a nutritional balance solution, but also a natural and effective way to compensate for what the body gradually lacks after 60. A quick note. Grass-fed beef is usually labeled as grass-fed or pasture-raised, and you should prioritize options with trusted certifications like USDA Organic. In the U.S., it is available at supermarkets like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's or through reputable websites such as ButcherBox. Real grass-fed beef tends to have a darker color, less marbling, and a richer flavor compared to conventionally raised beef. Even though it is a healthier type of beef, adults over 60 should still choose leaner cuts like sirloin, round, or ground beef with at least 90% lean. Simple cooking methods like light grilling or slow stewing are best for heart health. So, how do you choose to live after 60? Will you continue to avoid red meat based on outdated advice, or will you reconsider what science has proven? But if you think red meat is the biggest surprise, wait for the next part. Because the next meat, which seems too small to make any difference, turns out to be the strongest shield against stroke that nature has ever created.
The good meat, number 2, sardines. Among the foods that protect the heart, there is one that is often underrated both in terms of price and attention. That's sardines. Sitting humbly on the supermarket shelf, often associated with being cheap, convenient, and even for those on a budget. But behind those small cans of sardines lies one of the most powerful sources of nutrition to prevent stroke for those over 60. Sardines are rich in omega-3s, vitamin D, calcium, and easily digestible protein. What's special about them is that because sardines are eaten whole with their bones, they are one of the best natural sources of calcium for older adults, especially those who are quietly losing bone density without realizing it. Unlike larger fish like salmon or tuna, sardines are lower on the food chain, meaning they are almost free of mercury. This makes them a long-term safe choice for older adults looking to boost omega-3s without the risk of accumulating toxins. A study from 2022, published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging, followed individuals over 60 who ate sardines at least twice a week for 12 consecutive weeks. The results showed a 29% increase in bone density and a 32% reduction in triglyceride levels, both critical factors in preventing osteoporosis, stroke, and dangerous blood vessel complications. But what impressed me even more was a case shared during a conference in California. A 68-year-old man who had lived with prolonged fatigue, irritability, difficulty sleeping, and poor concentration in the afternoons had no obvious heart disease history but showed symptoms of mild nerve inflammation and sleep disturbances. He was advised to add sardines to his diet 3 times a week, replaced sugary drinks with water, and reduced processed foods. 3 months later, not only did his sleep improve, but he also felt more stable mentally, had sharper memory, and experienced a significant increase in overall energy. If you've never tried sardines because of their smell or thought they were just cheap food, you might be overlooking a powerful natural anti-inflammatory meat that's easy to eat, requires no complicated preparation, stores well, is nutrient-dense, and has almost no risk of chemical residue. The simplest way to incorporate them is by choosing sardines packed in olive oil, pairing them with steamed vegetables, whole grain bread, or mixing them into a salad. No complicated cooking is needed. Just adding them to your diet 2 to 3 times a week can make a noticeable difference. Many people over 60 have felt a real difference just by replacing their lunch with sardines, leafy greens, and whole grain bread. They sleep more deeply, feel more alert, and maintain more stable blood pressure. You can also lightly pan-sear sardines with garlic and lemon, mash them into your morning porridge, or roll them in steamed greens. These options are both tasty and easy to digest, especially suitable for middle-aged adults. And sardines are not just good for the heart. They also support bones, muscles, and energy, all things that tend to decline silently after 60. And if you think sardines are the simplest thing on this list, you'll be even more surprised in the final section. The number one good meat I'm about to share may have made you hesitant due to cholesterol. But if you understand it correctly, it could be the most powerful natural remedy to protect your heart, memory, and blood pressure stability after 60. And now is the time to reflect. What truly matters in your meals? The feeling of hesitation or the long-term benefits for your health and life? The good meat, number 1. Clean animal liver. The liver is the body's detox organ, and because of this, many people mistakenly believe eating liver means eating toxins. But this is only true when you consume liver from animals raised with antibiotics, industrial feed, or containing harmful chemical residues. If you choose clean animal liver, like organic beef liver or free-range chicken liver, it becomes one of the most nutritious and heart-healthy meats for people over 60. Liver is extremely rich in vitamin B12, heme iron, zinc, copper, vitamin A, and folate. Nutrients that not only help create blood and fight chronic fatigue, but also play a direct role in stabilizing heart rhythm, improving memory, and reducing the risk of atherosclerosis. Not many people know that a lack of vitamin B12 is a silent cause of heart arrhythmias, cognitive decline, and peripheral nerve damage in older adults. Animal liver is the richest natural source of B12, surpassing white meats and seafood. An analysis of over 9,000 older adults in Scandinavia showed that those who consumed animal liver at least once a week had significantly lower levels of homocysteine in their blood. This is a marker directly linked to the risk of stroke, heart attack, and vascular dementia. Interestingly, while many people avoid liver due to the fear of cholesterol, the truth is that liver contains moderate amounts of cholesterol and comes with many factors that help balance lipids, especially choline. Choline helps prevent fatty liver and aids in effective fat metabolism. Additionally, liver contains CoQ10, a compound that acts as the battery for heart and brain cells, helping maintain energy and vessel endurance. A colleague of mine, a geriatric specialist, shared that he often advises older patients to eat liver every 10 days in the form of pan-seared beef liver or chicken liver cooked with turmeric and black pepper. He says that just one small portion, about 80 grams, is enough to improve symptoms of anemia, fatigue, forgetfulness, and difficulty sleeping in many of his patients. We've just gone through 4 types of meats you should avoid or reduce because they contain high levels of salt, trans fats, or increase inflammation in your blood vessels. From sausages, fried chicken, factory farm chicken breasts, to pre-sliced deli meats that seem harmless. And then we explored 4 other meats that are nutrient-rich, safe, and help prevent heart attack and stroke, including wild-caught salmon, grass-fed beef, sardines, and clean animal liver. There's nothing complicated here, no strict diets, no need to count calories down to the gram. Just take a look at what's making you feel tired, sluggish, or restless at night, and what's helping you feel lighter, more alert, and healthier after eating. Because sometimes the big changes don't come from a heart surgery or an expensive prescription. They come from the small choices you make at the dinner table each day. You don't need to change everything overnight. Just start by switching one item from the list today. Gradually reduce the harmful ones. Slowly increase the smart choices. Your body will respond not with words, but with deeper sleep, more stable blood pressure, clearer mind, and more healthy days ahead. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming content on heart health, stroke prevention, and living well after age 60. If you have questions, concerns, or want me to share more about specific foods, habits, or symptoms you are experiencing, leave a comment below. I read and respond to all of them. Living healthy is a choice you make every day. See you in the next video.